Hola a todos. Hello, everyone.
Hola, Analisa.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Canosa, pero bien, gracias a Dios.
Bueno, eso quiere decir que estás disfrutando la cuarentena.
Ah, sí, al máximo, cuidándome 100%, toda la tropa.
Así es.
Saludos a todos al que conozca. Hola, María Gabriela.
Gracias.
Hola, Juan.
Hola, Ariadna. Hola, Juan. Vamos a estar todos. Ahora va a llegar el presentador. Todavía faltan 4 minutos, pero les vamos a avisar a todos que todos tienen que estar con las cámaras apagadas y en silencio para no distraer a la doctora Temple Grandin. ¿Ok? Entonces, al final...
Yo voy apagando ya, listo. Gusto
Okay.
saludarlo, hasta luego.
Al final, entonces, vamos a prender todas las cámaras y los audios para que todos la puedan saludar y darle las gracias. Hola, Melina. Hola, Melina. ¿Cómo estás? Melina, bien, gracias. Vamos a estar todos con las cámaras apagadas y en mudo para no distraer a la doctora Grandin. Entonces, al final, vamos a todos a encender las cámaras y todos vamos a encender los audios para poder darle las gracias y todo. ¿Ok? Ahora, en un ratito empezamos. Las preguntas, los comentarios. Oh, she's here. Okay. Hold on, Dr. Grandin. Let me unmute your computer.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, good. You can hear me. Great.
Yes. Welcome to Panama.
Well, it's good to be here, at least on Zoom. And hopefully people are going to be putting in lots of questions and stuff.
Yes. Everybody have their questions ready. And everybody's going to be on mute. And then their cameras are going to be turned off while we are talking. And then later on, where everybody's going to show up. So you can see.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I see somebody's got a nice beach for their picture.
Yes. And there are English speakers here. So what we're going to do is, like, you speak in English, you just pause for a moment, I translate it into Spanish, and then you continue. Because otherwise, the people who are English speakers are going to get confused when they leave.
Okay, I want to ask you, most of the people here, parents of young children, older children, or are they teachers?
We have everything. We have patients with autism that are adults. They're going to be listening. We have parents from young kids and older kids. Okay. And we do have professionals who work in the area with autism. And we have other people who support the Fundación Soy Capaz.
Yeah.
Yes. That they're here because they're supporting the event.
Okay, that sounds good.
Wonderful.
And how long is the entire event going for?
Well, I was expecting like 45 minutes and then, or 1 hour. Is that good for you?
That's fine.
Yes? Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Okay, let me find the Viva.
Well, I think what I'll do is just do a really short presentation, and then I want to open it right up for questions if we only have an hour.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yes, that sounds great.
You know, I just was practicing with some people in Brazil this morning, and they have figured out a way to do simultaneous translation on Zoom.
Yes, I saw that too. but it's like a specific type of Zoom, not the one that I have
Okay.
personally. Yes. But for next
We were
time,
just trying that this morning, and it took 45 minutes of figuring out how to use it. So we were doing this morning.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. Fortunately, it's very friendly. And what
How is COVID down where you're at?
it's terrible. Unfortunately, probably we're going to be in a lockdown, a completely lockdown again. And we are like one of the worst countries in this moment, in the worst situation.
Well, some of our states are some of the worst. Florida is totally terrible. New York, where my mother lives, actually is really quite good. People behave in New York. They wear their masks. They obey the rules. They socially distance. And New York's doing just fine.
Yes. Unfortunately, here, it's very hard for people to follow instructions.
Well, I don't know. New York seems to be following instructions because they went a whole day without a single case.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Showing up at the hospital. So that's doing good.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Where do you live right now?
I live in Colorado, and our COVID situation, it's medium good, I'd call it right now. I was over at our university, and we had some visitors coming from one of the states that was badly infected. I was gone. So bye. As soon as I found out 20 of them, bye. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be gone. I'm happy to talk to them on Zoom, on the phone.
Just in time.
No, the problem is I'm 73 years old. I've got to be careful.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes. I was wondering how old were you?
I'll be 73 in August, so I've got to be really careful.
Yes.
I want to do things, but I'd like to not get COVID is one of the things.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, it's better to be very, very careful.
No, and I found out we had 20 visitors coming from a badly infected state. I was gone. Out the front door and gone.
Ay, ay, ay. It's very hard, like, to take care of yourself, like in this situation. I mean, if you're surrounded by people, it's very dangerous. Better to be isolated.
I'm working on another book right now on education and people that are visual thinkers.
Uh-huh.
I'm really concerned about some of the stuff that's going on.
We want to read that book too.
Well, I've got quite a bit of stuff in Spanish online, and if you just hunt for it in Spanish, you can find it.
Oh, that's going to be wonderful.
Just go on there, put my name in, Temple Grandin, and then use Spanish search words. You should be able to find it.
Oh, wow.
Temple Grandin autismo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That word in Spanish, but just put my name in and use a bunch of Spanish search terms because I've got some stuff is translated.
Mm-hmm.
And Thinking in Pictures is available in Spanish. And some of my books are Spanish. You're just going to have to search on the Spanish book sites for them.
Yes. We usually read everything in English.
Well, then I've got plenty of stuff in English.
Uh-huh, yes.
If you want to read okay, that's fine.
And we watch all your videos on YouTube.
And I've got a bunch of videos, and if you want to translate something, go right ahead.
Wonderful, thank you. My PhD it's about you and your theories.
Oh,
My
okay.
thesis.
Well, I hope that it's help these kids to be successful.
Yes, for sure, for sure. With your ideas, it have opened up, like my insights have been like opening up really fast. And I hope I can write down something that can be used by many people.
Okay, well, I guess we're ready to start. It's 3:05.
Yes, I'm waiting for Dabaiba, the president of the foundation, the one that you know personally, but I don't see her name here. Let me see.
Well, we've got 67 people on right now.
Yes, but I'm wondering.
Pretty background you have there.
Oh, thank you.
Is that a real background or is it a Zoom background?
No, it's a real background.
A real background. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, mine's a real background too.
Yes. Let me call her and see what happened.
Aquí
Dabaiba, ¿con qué nombre estás aquí?
O Fundación Soy Capaz o Dabaiba.
Déjame buscarte por Fundación Soy Capaz.
Yo te estoy viendo a la doctora.
Qué bueno. Espérame que quiero abrirte para que puedas saludarla y empezamos. Pero fíjate que no me sale no me sale la fundación. Ni me sale tu nombre tampoco. ¿Estás segura de que esa es la nomenclatura que tienes? Okay, let's see. She is here.
Okay,
I need to
fine.
find her name. And it seems that is, oh, here she is. Please, everybody else, can you turn off your videos? Because we're ready to begin now. And let me unmute her. Here she is. Can you see her?
Hi, how are you?
Dabaiba, now you can talk.
Okay,
Dabaiba.
I'll just talk a little bit and then you translate. I had no speech until age 4.
Yo no hablaba hasta los 4 años.
Early education, very important. In speech therapy, 2.5 years old, speech therapy.
Estuvo en terapia del lenguaje desde los 2 años y medio. Y la educación, los primeros años, es muy importante.
Well, if you have little kids who are not talking, do not let them sit and watch computers all day or TVs.
Si ustedes tienen un niño que no tiene lenguaje, no lo dejen para nada quedarse todo el día enfrente de la computadora o de la televisión.
These kids need 20 hours a week, one-on-one teaching with an effective teacher.
Estos niños necesitan 20 horas a la semana de educación de 1 a 1 con una muy buena maestra.
When you teach them words, slow down when you talk.
Cuando estás enseñando a hablar, habla despacio.
If you speak too fast, it sounds like blah, 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 blah. Slow down when you talk.
Que si hablan muy rápido, entonces suena como bla, 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 bla. Así que tienen que hablar despacio.
Always give the child opportunities to use language. Ask him to use his language.
Siempre denle al niño oportunidades para usar su lenguaje y pídanle que use su lenguaje.
Also, give them time to respond. These children are like a telephone with bad mobile phone service.
También denle tiempo para que pueda contestar, porque estos chicos son como una persona que tuviera un celular o un teléfono que en una red que no funciona bien.
It's also important that they learn basic skills. Dressing, eating with utensils, toilet, basic skills.
Es muy importante que puedan aprender las habilidades básicas, a comer, a usar los cubiertos, a vestirse, desvestirse.
It's important to try to get the child to do these things themselves. Do not overhelp them.
Es muy importante enseñarle a los niños a que lo hagan por sí solos, no los sobreprotejan o ayuden más de la cuenta.
Some autistic children are sensitive to loud sounds.
Algunos de estos niños son muy sensibles a los sonidos.
A sound will be better tolerated if the child controls it. Vacuum cleaner, it's much better. The child can turn it on and off.
Los niños pueden tolerar mejor los sonidos cuando ellos pueden controlar el sonido. Por ejemplo, si están aspirando con la aspiradora, el niño tiene que poder ponerle prendido o apagado.
The sound is better tolerated if the child controls on-off of the loud noise.
El sonido, el niño puede tolerar mejor esos sonidos si él puede controlar de prender y apagar lo que sea que genere el sonido.
So you give the child the hair dryer or the vacuum cleaner, let them turn it on and off.
Entonces, denle al niño el secador de cabello o la aspiradora para que aprenda a prenderlo y apagarlo.
I also want to talk about different kinds of ways children and adults with autism think.
También quiero hablarles sobre las formas en que los niños y los adultos con autismo piensan.
I am a visual thinker. I think in pictures.
Yo soy una pensadora visual. Yo pienso en fotografías.
Visual thinkers are good at art, also good at a skilled trade, welding, carpentry, building things.
Las personas que tienen este tipo de pensamiento visual son muy buenas en arte y también en construir cosas.
They're also good at fixing cars and mechanical things.
También son buenos arreglando carros con cosas mecánicas.
And some kids are very good at mathematics. If a child's good at mathematics, let him do more difficult mathematics.
Y algunos de ellos son muy buenos haciendo matemáticas, así que permítanles hacer matemáticas difíciles.
And there's other children good at writing and words and talking.
Y hay otros niños que entonces piensan en palabras y en lenguaje.
We need to have greater emphasis on building up the skills that the child is good at. It might be art, mathematics, computer programming, or writing.
Tenemos que construir las habilidades donde el niño tenga sus fortalezas, ya sea en arte, en matemáticas o en escritura, literatura.
Another thing is children need to learn working skills. That's another important thing that they have to learn.
También los niños tienen que aprender habilidades para trabajar. Esto es otra cosa importante que todos los niños tienen que aprender.
I think what we should do is go to questions now, because the time will go quickly.
Ok, ahora ella está lista para que se le hagan preguntas porque el tiempo corre rápido.
We certainly must have some questions.
Yes, for sure. They're going to write down.
Okay, I'm going to pick somebody, even though your videos are off. I'm going to pick somebody. When I do it with my students, if they have pets in there.
Ella va a escoger a alguien.
Like this white outfit here. Yes, Meredith, with the white hat. It's a beautiful hat. Maybe you'd like to ask a question.
Vamos a ver.
Oh, people are bashful. You got to ask some questions.
Yes, here are some questions.
Here's some good, okay, all right, here I see it. ABA therapy.
Yes.
There are many types of ABA therapy. Some of it is good, some of it's bad.
Hay muchas clases de terapia de análisis conductual. Algunas son buenas, algunas son malas.
The old types of ABA therapy are too rigid. The modern types can be good.
Los modelos viejos de ABA son muy rígidos, así que los modernos pueden ser buenos.
Most important thing is the teacher. Some teachers have the ability to work with these children and others do not.
Realmente lo más importante es el maestro. Hay algún maestro que sí tiene las habilidades para poder trabajar con estos niños y otros no.
A good teacher knows just how much to push. You have to push some, but not so hard that you get sensory overload and shut down.
Hay algunos maestros que saben que tanto pueden empujar al niño sin sobrecargarlo o sin ir más allá de la cuenta.
Okay, there was a question there about obstacles out in the world of work. I started out in the Arizona cattle industry. Being a woman was a much bigger handicap than autism.
Dice que ella empezó ella vivía en Arizona y empezó trabajando en un área que era para ganado, y en esa época era más difícil o era una discapacidad más grande ser mujer que tener autismo.
I did find that I had some very good teachers and mentors. You need to find the people that can help you.
Yo tuve muy buenos maestros y mentores. Ustedes tienen que encontrar las personas que van a poder ayudarles.
And, okay, another thing is when the child is still in high school, that would be ages 14, 16, they need to be getting jobs before they graduate from school.
Cuando los chicos están en la escuela secundaria, entre los 14 y 15 años, ellos tienen que conseguir un trabajo antes de que terminen la escuela.
It's much better to have a gradual change from school to working.
Eso va a hacer mucho más fácil la transición de la escuela al momento de empezar a trabajar.
There's a tendency for parents to overprotect kids.
Hay una tendencia de los padres de sobreproteger a los niños.
I'm seeing smart kids with autism that are not learning basic skills, shopping, bank account. They need to learn these things.
Yo he visto niños muy inteligentes que no saben hacer las cosas más básicas, como por ejemplo ir de compras, ir al banco, y esto es necesario.
There was some of my things I was interested in as a child. I loved to make things that flew. I was good at art. My ability in art was always encouraged. I was encouraged to do lots of different kinds of art.
Yo tengo mucho desarrollo en las habilidades de las artes, y yo tengo todo un proceso que se dio alrededor de eso y de estimulación con respecto a esa área.
Okay, we had some other, let me get the chat stuff up here. Wait a minute. Biggest struggle, what skill that I like learning? I loved learning how to build things and to do art.
Lo que más me gusta es construir cosas y hacer arte.
There's a question about countries I've visited. I have been to Central America, Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, every country in Western Europe, China, Australia.
Alguien le ha preguntado que qué países ha visitado y está mencionando los países de Centroamérica, y menciona a Chile, Argentina y en otros países más lejanos como Australia.
There's a question there about sexuality issues. People with autism follow the rules. There are rules. You need to just tell them matter of fact with logic.
Una persona está haciendo preguntas sobre la sexualidad, y lo que es importante saber es que las personas con autismo siguen reglas, así que tienen que explicarles las cosas tal cual como son.
Yep, boys need to learn when a girl says no, no means no.
Los varones tienen que aprender que cuando una niña dice que no, es no. Una mujer dice que no, es no.
But you do put it in a very matter-of-fact way. There's many bad things on the internet. And in my country, there's certain websites, if you watch them, you will go to jail. I don't know it's true in your country, but you need to tell the child the rules about that stuff.
Que hay mucha información en internet, y por ejemplo, en su país donde ella vive, hay incluso temas legales que dicen que si de cierta edad entran a unas páginas a unas páginas de internet, pueden ir a la cárcel. Y ella no sabe cómo es acá en nuestro país, pero tienen que enseñarle las reglas de cómo manejarse al 100%.
And then girls, when they mature, have got to deal with their periods. You need to just explain it to them. Matter of fact, this is how it works.
Y las niñas, cuando les va a venir la menstruación, entonces tienen que aprender cuáles son las reglas y qué es lo que va a pasar y cómo se maneja.
Well, I'm glad to see that we have somebody here who's a fashion blogger. That's a very artistic career, probably a visual thinker. I know many people in industry who are autistic.
Yo conozco muchas personas que son personas con autismo que están en la industria. Por ejemplo, hay una persona aquí que es una persona bloguera que escribe contenidos y eso para ella seguramente debe ser una muestra de una persona que tiene pensamiento visual.
I worked in the meat industry. I knew machinery designers, people who built equipment that were undiagnosed autism. I've been to big tech companies. Many of the programmers have undiagnosed autism.
Yo he trabajado en diferentes compañías donde hay diferentes personas que tienen autismo, pero que no han sido diagnosticados, personas que han levantado programas o creado programas y tienen mucha capacidad.
With little kids, we have one difficulty we need to try to work on, and that's speech.
Con
That we need to work on with little 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. We need to work on their speech.
Con los niños pequeños tenemos que asegurarnos de trabajar en el lenguaje. Si tienen 2 años, 3 años, hay que trabajarles el lenguaje.
But if a child is really good at art and terrible in math, let's work on building up the strength in the art and turn it into a career.
Si, por ejemplo, tenemos un niño que es buenísimo en el arte y también en el área de las matemáticas, entonces si su fortaleza está en el arte, tenemos que construir con fuerza todas las habilidades en esa área para que esa después sea su carrera.
There was a question about therapy with COVID-19. Little children, speech therapy, the speech therapist needs to teach the parents how to do it, then watch the parents over Zoom and coach the parent on how to do it with the little kid.
Una persona está haciendo una pregunta de cómo hacer terapia de lenguaje ahora durante el COVID-19 y la recomendación que ella da es que hagan la terapia por Zoom, pero que la terapeuta de lenguaje entrene a los padres para que puedan hacer la terapia del niño.
Okay, there's a question about a shutdown, meltdown. You need to just let them go to a quiet place and it'll take 20 minutes to recover.
Cuando los niños tienen ataques muy fuertes, emocionales, es mejor que los lleven a un lugar donde pueda estar a solas, tranquilo, como unos 20 minutos y después eso va a pasar y sigue adelante.
Okay, there's a question there about inclusion. One of the most important things is a teacher who believes in it and wants to do it and wants to make it work.
Cuando preguntan sobre inclusión, realmente lo que tienen que encontrar es un buen maestro, que sea una persona que lo quiera hacer, que quiera ayudar en serio.
Teach emotional regulation is a question. There's some, you can make a cardboard thermometer where you're calm, you know, like getting boiling hot. Anger thermometer, you can make it on a piece of cardboard, and you need to provide calming strategies like count to 5, take a deep breath, teach them ways that they can calm, mindfulness training.
Una persona hizo una pregunta acerca de lo que pasaba con la autorregulación emocional. Y lo que ella dice es que le pueden enseñar a tener un termómetro donde tienen el dibujo y así el niño va aprendiendo cómo se siente y al mismo tiempo entonces le deben enseñar ejercicios de relajación, por ejemplo contar hasta 5, ejercicios de respiración para que aprenda a calmarse.
Another thing is some children and adults wear headphones all the time because they're sound sensitive. But if they wear headphones all the time, their ear will get more sensitive.
Hay algunos chicos que utilizan todo el tiempo sus audífonos porque son muy sensibles a nivel auditivo, pero la realidad es que si tienen puestos sus audífonos todo el tiempo, eso va a hacer que se vuelvan más sensibles a los sonidos.
The child can always have the headphone with them, but you want to try to train them to try not to wear them, but you always have them with you, so you've got control.
Les deben permitir que todo el tiempo tengan sus audífonos para que tengan el control, pero eso no significa que los usen. O sea que hay que tratar de que no los usen a pesar de que los carguen consigo.
Well, there's a question here about hitting other people. I will need to ask more questions to find out, when does he hit? Is it when it's loud noise? When I ask him to do something? You know, what brings on the hitting?
Hay una persona que está haciendo una pregunta sobre pegar y ella necesita hacer más preguntas al respecto. O sea, ¿qué está generando el que la persona quiera pegar? O que el chico con autismo quiera pegar.
It might help if he hits all the time, is reward him for going a short period of time of not hitting, and then gradually lengthen the amount of time of no hitting to get the reward.
Lo que deben hacer es que le pueden dar un premio al niño después de que pasan unos minutos en que no pega, y entonces esa es la manera en que le pueden enseñar a que no pegue, con premios después de no pegar.
Okay, the answer came back, if he doesn't get it,
Yeah.
well, he's not going to get it if he hits.
Ajá.
He's going to get it if he can go 5 seconds with no hitting, then he can get what he wants.
Ajá. Por ejemplo, si el niño puede, si el niño va a tratar de conseguir algo y no pega, entonces ahí en 5 segundos le entregan el premio para que vea que gana lo que quería en el momento en que no pega.
I was taught social skills at family meals. I was taught it in taking turns playing games. You have to wait and take your turn. And when parents had parties, I had to shake hands with the guests.
Ella le enseñaron en su familia muy buenos modales cuando estaba en la mesa, a jugar juegos por turnos, y además si había una fiesta, ella tenía que darle la mano a cada una de las personas que venían.
Now, I have a method called teachable moment. So if we're at the table and I grab the serving dish, do not scream no. Give the instruction. Ask your sister to pass it. You give the instruction, do not scream no.
Ella tiene una metodología muy especial para enseñar para momentos de aprendizaje. Es como un momento de aprendizaje. Por ejemplo, si están en la mesa y va a agarrar un plato de algo que no debe agarrar en ese momento, tienen que darle la instrucción. En vez de decirle que no, tienen que darle la instrucción. Dile a tu hermana que te pase el plato.
If I'm in the store and I touch the merchandise, you give the instruction. Only touch the things you're going to buy.
Por ejemplo, si están en una tienda y el niño va a tocar algo que no debe tocar, entonces simplemente tienen que darle la instrucción de que no se pueden tocar las cosas.
Okay, there's a question about recommendation for teachers here. I really like having the questions so I can read them. The autistic kids and other children with learning difficulties cannot remember long strings of sequential verbal instructions.
Los niños que tienen autismo y otros trastornos de aprendizaje les cuesta mucho seguir una cantidad de palabras que van dentro de una instrucción.
If there's a task that has 3, 5, 6, or 7 steps, give the child a checklist like you have for pilot, a checklist, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
Si ustedes tienen un niño que necesita hacer una actividad que tiene muchos pasos, deben darle un listado donde esté paso 1, paso 2, paso 3, y de esa manera el niño va a poder hacerlo.
Okay, on social skills, I had friends through shared interests. We flew kites together. We rode bikes together. And when I was bullied and teased in school, I was friends with the other kids that did electronics. Friends through shared interests.
Cuando uno habla de amigos, de lo que se trata es de personas que comparten los mismos intereses que uno. Y yo, por ejemplo, tuve unos amigos para hacer cometas, que era lo que a mí me gustaba y me interesaba, y entonces con esas personas es que hice amistad.
There's a question there about positive discipline. There may be a translation issue. I don't know what that means.
Oh, that's a specific method of managing behavior. It's called positive, it's like ABA, but just the positive interventions.
Well, like what I recommended to you, if the child can go 5 seconds, 10 seconds with no hitting and then a reward, well, that might be part of that's definitely a positive way to do it.
Yes, it
where
is.
I'm rewarding for going a longer and longer period of not hitting.
Por ejemplo, en el caso de un niño que está pegando a alguien, entonces, si se pasa 5 segundos sin pegar, entonces recibe un premio, y esto seguramente es una manera positiva de manejar la conducta, y luego, entonces, le alargas el tiempo. O sea, si al comienzo eran 5 segundos, luego 10 segundos, luego poco a poco vas ampliando.
You have to be very careful to not accidentally reward bad behavior.
Tienes que tener mucho cuidado de no ir a premiar una conducta negativa sin querer.
Okay, it's all the questions that are on there so far. Talked about inclusion. Well, there certainly must be some more questions. Another problem in autism is a big spectrum. You're going from somebody who never learns to talk to somebody that's programming a computer or doing great art, and it all has the same name. This gets to be a problem.
Hay un problema con este tema del autismo, y es que hay muchas diferencias entre las personas que tienen el diagnóstico. Puedes tener una persona que sea magnífica en el arte y otras magníficos en los temas que son de computadoras, y las dos personas están dentro del espectro. There's a new question.
Okay, a question when I moved out of the home. Well, it's better to do things gradually. This is why it's so important to have a job before graduation from school, so it's not a sudden change. It starts with chores for little kids, maybe a volunteer job at your church, 11, 10 years old. So they learn how to work for somebody outside the family who is the boss.
Una persona está haciendo la pregunta de qué pasa si empiezan a, qué hay que hacer para cuando van llegando a la vida adulta. Y ella dice que lo mejor es que la transición sea gradual. Y por lo tanto, desde que tienen 10, 11 años, es bueno que tengan un trabajo, por ejemplo, que sean voluntarios en la iglesia. Y en ese periodo, o sea, no es que los jefes es la familia, sino que tiene otros jefes, y así poco a poco va a ir a estar poniéndose al día para cuando llegue el momento realmente de salir a la vida adulta.
I want to talk about COVID. One of the things that's helped me is to have a schedule. I get up every morning, shower, dressed for work by 8 o'clock in the morning, every day. Makes me feel a lot better.
Una persona está preguntando que cómo ella misma se está manejando ahora durante el tiempo del COVID, y dice que lo que ella ha hecho es que ha estado apegada a su agenda, es decir, que todos los días se levanta, tiene su horario, se alista, y a las 8 de la mañana está lista para trabajar, y mantenerse en su horario es lo que le ha ayudado.
And you need to get a new schedule. And I'm having kids look up life on the International Space Station. videos. They're living in very cramped quarters. They have a schedule.
Ajá. Él está haciendo mucho énfasis en la importancia de tener un horario y mantenerse apegados al horario.
And every day they have a midday meal where everybody is together and eats. That's one of the things we need to do. Everybody has to go to a midday meal on the space station. And NASA has learned that that helps people to get along.
Y ella está poniendo el ejemplo de lo que pasa en la NASA, y lo que hacen es que todos comen a la misma hora. Entonces, eso es un ejemplo de cómo todo el mundo se puede mantener conectados y realiza actividades en el mismo horario, como el almuerzo, por ejemplo.
Okay, there's a question here about magic cures for autism, and there's a lot of rubbish out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can work with little kids and get them talking, but nothing completely cures it.
Una persona está preguntando sobre curas mágicas en el autismo, y ella dice que es cierto, puedes lograr que un niño con autismo pueda hablar, pero realmente nada va a quitar al 100% el autismo.
Now, there are some medical things that can help. If a person has no speech, he might have a tummy ache, and he cannot tell you about it. Mm-hmm. A hidden, painful medical problem. Mm-hmm. Toothaches, earaches, constipated. You have to make sure that, especially in a nonverbal person, they do not have these problems.
Uh-huh. Está haciendo mucho énfasis en que un niño, por ejemplo, o una persona que no tiene lenguaje, puede tener un problema médico profundo, y la persona puede estar adolorida, puede tener dolor de estómago, le pueden doler los dientes, le puede estar pasando algo en su cuerpo, y eso tiene que ser revisado y atendido.
And gastrointestinal problems are more common in individuals with autism, and that may need to be treated.
Y los problemas gastrointestinales son más comunes en las personas con autismo, y esto tiene que ser tratado.
Well, this is my latest book, The Way I See It, and I have an updated medical section in this book.
Este es un nuevo libro que se llama La forma en que yo lo veo, y tiene un apartado, un capítulo en el libro donde está la información médica actualizada.
It's also important that kids get plenty of exercise.
Es importante también que los niños tengan bastante ejercicio.
Homeschooling, well, what some of the people here are doing is they form quarantine units where even if you lock down adjacent houses, you're mixing just those two families very carefully.
Uh-huh.
Because the kid being all by himself is not good.
Que los niños estén solos al 100% no es bueno. Entonces, lo que algunas personas están haciendo es que familias, con mucho cuidado, entonces reúnen dos niños para que trabajen juntos los temas de la escuela, por ejemplo.
Yeah, but then you've got to be in a situation where you make sure that somebody doesn't bring COVID in. We need to get it so that this kid is just not by himself.
Tienen que tener mucho cuidado de no traer COVID adentro de la vida de ustedes, pero al mismo tiempo hay que buscar la socialización.
There's a question about old person. I'm an old person now. I'm at risk for COVID because I'll be 73. And I still have my job. And my life is my job. And it's been difficult for some older people if they suddenly have to leave a job.
Mm-hmm. Ella dice que ahora ella es una persona mayor que tiene 73 años y que su vida es su trabajo. Así que para algunas personas a su edad es muy difícil dejar el trabajo porque esto ha sido su vida.
Okay, I'm looking at the questions. Things that I enjoy. I really enjoyed figuring out how to invent equipment. That's something I enjoyed doing, just figuring out how to invent things. My grandfather also was an inventor. He invented the autopilot for airplanes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ella está diciendo que lo que ella más disfruta es inventar cosas, y que su abuelo fue una persona que inventó los motores para los aviones, los primeros aviones. Y
some of my happiest moments have been, figuring out how to invent something and making it work.
Así que lo que ella más disfruta es inventar algo y hacer que trabaje.
This is why it's important, to find a job that the person is going to like.
Así que por eso es tan importante poder ayudarlos a encontrar el trabajo que les va a gustar.
One big problem I'm seeing is parents overprotect their kids and they're not learning job skills. That's wrong.
Un problema que yo he visto es que los padres de familia sobreprotegen a los niños y no les enseñan habilidades para poder trabajar, y eso está mal.
The film about me, it showed how I think visually, very accurate. It also showed all my projects, all the things I built. I loved the film.
Alguien ha preguntado sobre su película y ella dice que le encanta porque ahí muestran cómo ella puede pensar en fotografías o en imágenes y todos los proyectos de las cosas que ella ha inventado.
And the film shows autism accurately, shows sensory problems, the anxiety, and my visual thinking is accurate.
Y en esa película muestran claramente las dificultades que hay en autismo, los problemas sensoriales, los niveles de ansiedad, y muestran claramente cómo funciona el pensamiento visual que ella tiene.
Well, I have no plans right now for part 2.
No hay planes en este momento de película segunda parte.
Well, hopefully the movie's available where you're at.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Easy for you to get the movie?
Fortunately, yes.
Good.
We can get the movie.
Am I a vegan? No, I'm not a vegan. I eat meat. Actually, my metabolism, I can't function on a totally vegan diet. And I feel very strongly that animals we use for food, we must treat them well and give them a good life.
Ella dice que ella no es vegetariana, que de hecho no le hace bien a su cuerpo con esta dieta vegetariana completa, que ella come carne animal, pero los animales tienen que ser bien tratados y tienen que tener una buena vida.
I have heard, and there's a question here about therapy animals. I've had several parents tell me that their young child, maybe 4 years old, did their first words on a horse. Some children really respond to that. Some children also respond really well to dogs.
Hay una persona que ha preguntado sobre las terapias con animales y dice que ella ha escuchado padres de familia donde, por ejemplo, la primera palabra que ha dicho el niño ha sido cuando está arriba de un caballo y otros alrededor de perros.
I have found that children with autism respond to dogs differently. There's 3 ways. Love them, number 1. Number 2, a little bit afraid at first, then love them. And then you have a third type where the pet is not appropriate because they have a sensory problem. It might bark and make a noise. It might smell. So you have one type of kid with sensory problem where the pet's probably not appropriate. But for the other 2 kinds of kids, pets can be wonderful.
Está explicando que en el caso de los perros hay 3 tipos de niños con autismo. Hay 2 tipos donde sí disfrutan tener el perro, pero hay otro tipo de niños con autismo que no, por las dificultades que tienen de integración sensorial. Entonces, cuando el perro ladra, realmente les genera mucha ansiedad. Hay unos niños que aman los perros, los otros sienten un poco de ansiedad y luego aman el perro, pero está este tercer grupo de niños donde realmente no les conviene la mascota.
There are some people with autism that do benefit from special diets. They do not have to be expensive.
Hay algunas personas con autismo que se benefician de dietas específicas, pero no deben ser dietas caras.
Some people benefit from taking dairy products, that's milk, cheese products, out of the diet, or removing wheat from the diet.
Hay algunas personas con autismo que les hace bien remover el trigo o la harina de trigo, y otras personas que, por ejemplo, deben eliminar los lácteos, los quesos, la leche.
There's a lot of expensive things being sold. You don't have to do that.
Y hay muchas cosas caras que están vendiendo. Usted no necesita hacer eso.
If you eat corn tortillas and you leave the cheese off, And vegetables, fruits, meats, that's a special diet right there. Buy it in a regular grocery store.
Un ejemplo de una dieta regular, de algo que pueden comprar en el supermercado, es por ejemplo comer tortillas sin queso, pero con carne, vegetales. Si come frutas, eso es suficiente.
Well, this creeping and crawling therapy, that's an old thing from the US. I'd rather have the kid ride a horse.
Ella prefiere tener a un niño montando a caballo y que, o sea, en vez de estar haciendo otros tipos de terapia.
And one of the benefits of the horse is you have to balance and you have rhythm.
Uno de los beneficios de montar a caballo es que tienes balance y tienes ritmo.
Now, if you can't use a horse, there's other things that may duplicate this. Balancing, sitting on an exercise ball, swings.
Ajá. Si ustedes no tienen un caballo, hay otras cosas que pueden hacer para lograr esta estimulación del balance. Por ejemplo, sentarse en un balón o estar en un columpio.
And you can just try this and try your speech therapy or your ABA while the child's sitting on the exercise ball or while he's on the swing.
Entonces así el niño puede ser estimulado cuando está balanceándose en el balón o cuando está en el columpio.
And there's a question here about diets again. There definitely are some children respond to a diet, they're a responder, and there are definitely other children and adults who are non-responders.
En el caso de las dietas, que otra persona está haciendo otra pregunta, en realidad hay un grupo de niños que sí responden apropiadamente a las dietas y hay otro grupo de niños que no responden.
Yeah, I agree with the concept of responders and non-responders to diets.
Ella está de acuerdo con esta forma de pensar, de que hay gente que sí responde y otros que no responden.
And then let's discuss medication. People may have some questions about that. There's way too many medications given out to very young children without very much thought being put into it.
Alguna persona va a preguntar sobre la medicación y ella lo que piensa es que hay muchos niños que reciben muchísima medicación y realmente nadie se ha sentado a pensar bien en qué es lo que van a hacer.
When I was in my early 30s, I went on antidepressant medication. I described my experiences with anxiety in Thinking in Pictures. I think that is available in Spanish. And I take a low dose of an antidepressant and it saved me.
Sin embargo, por ejemplo, ella en su libro que nos acaba de mostrar, muestra cómo ella empezó a tomar un poco de antidepresivos alrededor de los 30 años y eso fue lo que la salvó de unos ataques de ansiedad muy fuertes.
If you try a medication, it should have an obvious good effect. Like you go, wow, this stuff really works.
Si
It
usted,
should be obvious that it has a good effect.
si ustedes tratan con un medicamento, tiene que tener un efecto obvio, tiene que ser muy claro de que este es el medicamento funciona.
Okay, young adult in college that's feeling bad, I'd recommend getting involved in some groups where there's a shared interest. It could be a mathematics, chess, computer programming, art, a club where there's shared interests.
Por ejemplo, una persona está haciendo una pregunta sobre un chico que está en la universidad y ella lo que está recomendando es que lo involucren en grupos, pero donde pueda compartir sobre sus intereses, que pueden ser las computadoras, que pueden ser el arte, diferentes temas, pero lo importante es que esté con personas que compartan sus intereses.
Well, there's a question here about language without communication. That's usually called echolalia in the US.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Una persona está haciendo una pregunta acerca del lenguaje donde no hay intención en la comunicación y en su país esto se llama ecolalia.
There's three ways where the brain can have problem with language. The first is they do not hear it clearly. The child may hear blah, 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 and not the words, even though he's not deaf.
Ajá, cuando hablamos del lenguaje hay tres problemas que pueden estar ocurriendo. Uno, en que los sonidos entran por los oídos, aunque los oídos pueden escuchar, entran con sonidos como bla, 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 así enredado.
The second way is difficulty expressive, getting the speech out. I had that problem.
El otro problema puede ser que haya mucha dificultad para expresar el lenguaje, para que las palabras puedan salir. Esto es lo que le pasó a ella.
I knew what I wanted to say, but I couldn't get the words out. It was like a stutter.
Y yo sabía lo que yo quería decir, pero no podía lograr que las palabras salieran. Eran como si estaban trabadas ahí adentro.
The third thing is no communication intention. The child memorizes a movie script, but he doesn't know what it means.
Lo siguiente es cuando no hay intención en la comunicación. Por ejemplo, ese chico ve una película y se memoriza la película, pero no sabe qué significa.
So what you need to do is you have to teach the child that these words that he's saying actually mean something.
Entonces lo que hay que enseñarle a ese niño es que las palabras que está diciendo tienen un significado.
You could take some words from the movie script that you could use in a real situation. Then you start to make the connection that the words mean something.
Uh-huh. Está explicando que uno lo que puede hacer es que uno puede tomar unas palabras de esa imagen de la película que el niño ha memorizado y después la empieza a utilizar en la vida diaria, en alguna actividad específica, para que entonces puedan asociar que esa palabra tiene un significado.
You can also start teaching them names of favorite foods and favorite toys, favorite things.
También pueden empezar a enseñarle palabras de sus cosas favoritas, su comida favorita, sus juguetes favoritos.
Well, the question was, when did I know I had autism? You know, when I was 8 years old, I knew I was different. It wasn't until I was maybe 10 that I really knew.
Uh-huh. Dice que una persona preguntó que cuando ella supo que tenía autismo. Dice que desde que tenía 8 años ella se dio cuenta que tenía algo diferente, pero cuando ya tenía 10 años ya sí sabía.
I had a good experience in the young grades in school because my teacher explained to the other students that I had a handicap, but it wasn't visible like a wheelchair or crutches. And then she got the other students to help me.
Ella tuvo una muy buena vida durante la escuela primaria porque sus maestros le explicaron a sus compañeros que ella tenía una discapacidad, solo que era invisible. No se veía como los que estaban en sillas de ruedas o si les había pasado algo. Y entre sus amigos le ayudaban.
I had a terrible time in high school in the older grades with bullying and teasing. And the only places I had friends was where there was a shared interest, such as horseback riding or electronics.
Y ella pasó unos años muy malos en el periodo de la secundaria porque le hacían bullying y la trataban mal. Y solamente tenía amigos con los cuales compartía sus intereses, que era montar a caballos o los temas de computadoras.
Well, one of the ways I fought stereotypes is I made myself really good at my design work. People would look at my drawings and they just couldn't believe that I had drawn them. You know, I'd show people my portfolio. I'll show it to you right now. Hopefully you can see that clearly.
Yes.
See my drawings there. And when I would show people my drawings, they'd go, wow, you did that?
Something, let me say it in Spanish. Una cosa que ocurrió en la vida de ella es que ella se perfeccionó en cuanto a los temas del dibujo. Entonces, cuando la gente veía lo que ella había dibujado, la gente decía, wow, pero tú dibujaste esto. No lo podían creer.
Maybe you could tell me about this questionnaire from Maria Gabbs. I know it has something to do with frustration.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of that, something to do with frustrations.
She wants to know how do you break free from the frustration feelings when you have to go to classes that you didn't like and you were not interested about it, and how do you manage your frustration in this moment?
Well, I had a good science teacher and he gave me lots of projects to do. And when education became a pathway to becoming a scientist, then I got more motivated to do some of the classes I did not like. Education needs to be a pathway to a goal.
Ella tuvo un muy buen maestro de ciencias que le ponía muchos proyectos que a ella le interesaban. Entonces, en el momento en que ella se dio cuenta que la educación era un camino para poder llegar a ser una científica, entonces en ese momento podía tolerar estar en temas que realmente no le interesaban tanto.
Okay, instrumental talents, are they talking about musical instruments when they say instrumental? Oh, if they're good at music, advance it. Give them lots of different instruments to play, move them ahead. They're good at math, move them ahead. They're good at math, show them computer programming.
Lo que dice es que si, por ejemplo, se dan cuenta que la persona le gustan los instrumentos musicales, denle todos los instrumentos musicales para que lo puedan aprender. Si le gustan las matemáticas, entonces que aprenda todas las matemáticas que puedas y que siga adelante.
Well, you want to develop that because music can turn into a really good career.
Y eso hay que desarrollarlo porque la música es una muy buena carrera.
Well, some parents don't accept the diagnosis. One of my biggest concerns is I see a 3-year-old with no speech and nobody is working on trying to teach him how to talk or teach him skills like dressing and showering.
Lo que ella,
if you have little kids that are not talking, you must work with them.
Ella lo que más le preocupa es ver a los niños pequeños, porque si ustedes tienen un niño que tiene 3 años y no habla, tienen que trabajar con ese niño, tienen que trabajarlo para que pueda hablar.
Well, I got another chat there about too much emphasis on difficulties. Well, then we need to work on some of the strengths at home. I mean, art materials aren't that expensive. Music, you can work on that. There's all kinds of free stuff online for learning computer programming. There's a great website called Wolfram Mathematica for math. There's many good resources online for learning stuff in mathematics, and a lot of it's free.
Dice que hay que enfocarse en fortalecer las áreas que le gustan o le resultan fácil al niño. Entonces, es importante, por ejemplo, que busquen recursos online que son gratuitos, que están en el internet, y, por ejemplo, puede aprender a programar computadoras.
And I worked with many colleagues that were undiagnosed autistic, dyslexic, learning problems. They were brilliant designers, programmers, people that built things, mechanics, and they were brilliant at what they did.
Yo tengo muchos colegas que jamás fueron diagnosticados con autismo ni con dislexia y que son unas personas brillantes, que son mecánicos, que son programadores de computación, que tienen sus carreras y son excelentes.
Children need to be exposed to many things. I'm seeing too many kids that have never used tools, or maybe they've never played an instrument. How can you find out if you like mechanics, tools, or music if you never have a chance to do it as a child? You need to be exposed to things.
Y el niño tiene que estar expuesto a las cosas. ¿Cómo vas a saber que no te gusta la música o no te gustan los temas de la mecánica si nunca los has conocido? El niño tiene que estar expuesto.
Kids have to get exposed to things. I got interested in the cattle industry because I visited my aunt's ranch when I was 15 years old. That was exposure to it.
Ella, por ejemplo, se dedicó al trabajo en las granjas, pero esto es porque ella fue al rancho de su tía cuando ella tenía 15 años, es decir, que ella fue expuesta a ese ambiente.
Well, there's a lot of classes that you can look at it on Zoom and other online things. Take classes, things you're interested in. In the programming sector, there's all kinds of classes online, and you can learn programming. People will hire you.
Ella lo que dice es que en este momento hay muchos recursos, muchas alternativas gratuitas en el internet. Entonces estamos en un momento donde simplemente puedes aprender y después alguien te va a contratar para hacer el trabajo.
You can look up the SpaceX Dragon capsule and see the kind of code they used. to make the flat screen displays work. The stuff on how to do that's all online. You just have to use good English keywords though to find it, unfortunately.
Dice que solamente con que usen unas palabras claves en inglés pueden encontrar este tipo de cursos para aprender a programar y a diseñar diferentes cosas.
There's too many kids on the spectrum getting addicted to video games, and they're not learning anything else. We must control the amount of video game playing to 1 hour a day.
Ella está viendo muchos niños que están adictos a los videojuegos y realmente hay que controlar esto. No pueden jugar más de 1 hora al día con los videojuegos porque se ha creado una adicción.
Well, the same program that runs video games also runs the Dragon space capsule. Now, I think the Dragon space capsule is a lot more interesting than video games. We need to point that out to the kid. That's the SpaceX. They sent the rocket up to the space station.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes, we saw that.
And that's those screens they had in the capsule. They run on the same software as the Minecraft video game. Java, it's called JavaScript.
Oh, wow.
They run on the same software. Now, someone's going to have to get online, knows a little bit about the space and programming in English and find the sites. But I've been on websites where you can actually, there's a simulator. You can learn how the software design. They use an open source platform called Linux. They use Linux, JavaScript, and Google Android. And I actually looked some of the stuff up. I don't understand the programming, but I found the sites. There are wonderful websites online for these kids. If someone just spends the time to hunt them down and find them.
Oh, wow. Yes, this is so interesting. Let me translate. Ella está explicando que lo que ella se ha dado cuenta es que hay muchas cosas muy interesantes que en vez de simplemente jugar con un videojuego, o sea, realmente si buscas en internet o las páginas adecuadas, puedes enseñarle al niño cosas maravillosas. Por ejemplo, ahora que lanzaron este cohete al espacio, las pantallas o ciertas formas que están adentro de la cápsula están diseñadas con programas de computadoras que son como Java, Linux, con Google. Hay muchísima conexión entre lo que se está haciendo y lo que ustedes tienen disponible en internet. Entonces es cuestión de poder entrar y ponerse a buscar para que los chicos puedan aprender a programar, y ella, aunque no es programadora, de todas maneras le ha resultado súper fácil e interesante aprender todo esto.
There are a lot of famous people that probably had autism. Michelangelo, Bill Gates, many famous people. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. These people probably all had autism.
Hay muchas personas que tal vez tuvieron autismo. Por ejemplo, Miguel Ángel, Thomas Edison, que fue el que inventó la luz, el bombillo con la luz. Y esas personas, pues bueno, no estaban diagnosticadas, pero seguramente sí tenían autismo.
Well, there's a question about aromatherapy. If that helps calm you down, then fine, you can use it. If that works for you.
Una persona hizo una pregunta sobre aromaterapia y lo que dice es que si te funciona, pues maravilloso, úsalo.
Okay, how to stereotypize repetitive behavior. I was allowed to have a certain time and place to do it. I could do it right after lunch and I could do it right after dinner, but other times it was not allowed, like at the dining room table.
Una persona estaba haciendo preguntas sobre los movimientos repetitivos o conductas repetitivas y dice que a ella le daban permiso para realizarlas en ciertos momentos del día. Por ejemplo, después del almuerzo, después de la cena, pero en las otras horas o durante el tiempo en la mesa no era permitido.
Okay, there's questions about rejecting the diagnosis. I'm especially concerned if you have 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds with no speech and nothing's being done about it. I don't care what the diagnosis is. You have a little kid with no talking and you need to do something about it. And it does not have to be expensive.
Ella está diciendo que realmente no le preocupa tanto si es un diagnóstico o es otro diagnóstico. El tema está en que si uno está con un niño de 2 o 3 años que no habla, tienen que trabajar al niño y tienen que hacer algo al respecto, y no necesariamente tiene que ser algo carísimo, pero sí tienen que trabajarlo.
Sometimes grandmothers are really good at working with these children, and you want to start out turn taking. If he's lining up toy trucks, then we take turns lining up those toys. So that's the first thing. Turn his little stereotypies into a turn-taking game.
Muchas veces las abuelas son unas buenas personas para poder trabajar con los niños y hay que trabajar en tomar turnos. El que primero va una persona y después va otra persona y así aprenden entonces a esperar sus tiempos.
Okay, there's a question here about low expectations. One big problem I see, especially with some nonverbal individuals, is they help the kid too much. You know, if you give them the opportunity to put the jacket on himself.
Ella ve como un problema importante el hecho de que ayuden demasiado a los niños. Tiene que aprender a ponerse su abrigo él solo.
Now, a question about autism and genius. There are people on the autism spectrum that are definitely not a genius, but there are some people on the autism spectrum that are geniuses.
Están haciendo una pregunta sobre la relación entre autismo y genios. Y ella dice que hay un grupo de personas con autismo que no son genios, pero definitivamente hay otro grupo donde sí lo son.
Now, autism is a very big spectrum, going from programmers at major tech companies to somebody who never learns to dress themselves. Now, some people that are nonverbal can learn to type independently.
Realmente, cuando se habla de autismo, es un espectro bien grande. Entonces van a encontrar diferentes características, pero hay personas que no tienen lenguaje, que pueden escribir en la computadora o en un teclado y pueden aprender.
Okay, now I think we've done a lot of questions here. That's good.
Yes.
Oh, the death of a close relative. First of all, I want to know how old the boy is.
Una persona acaba de hacer una pregunta y ella quisiera saber qué tantos años tiene el chico del cual están preguntando.
Well, he's just gone. I would not tell him, do not tell him that he just like went to sleep, because then the child may become afraid of going to sleep. But he is gone, and maybe we can do things to remember that relative. Like maybe he liked fishing, or he liked painting. We can do some of the things that you used to like to do with that relative to remember him.
Es importante que puedan hacer cosas con los niños que después recuerden. Por ejemplo, de sus cosas favoritas. Por ejemplo, pescar o hacer otro tipo de actividades para que hagan juntos y así lo recuerden.
Okay, yeah, that's, now the way I understood safety on not running in front of cars, we were out for a walk and a car had run over a squirrel. I assume you have squirrels where you're at. Mm-hmm. And he was flat. There was no way the veterinarian could fix him. Mm-hmm. And that's why you don't run in front of cars. Mm-hmm. That squirrel was dead.
Mm-hmm. Ella está explicando que cuando se habla de seguridad, estamos hablando de que, por ejemplo, no puedes correr enfrente de un carro que está andando. Si ella está poniendo un ejemplo de algo que experimentó por el área donde ella vive, donde tenía un carro y el otro niño, y el niño se paró enfrente del carro. Obviamente no hay seguridad ahí, ¿no?
Okay, I'm just going to think. I've answered most of the questions here. I'm just going over the questions. See if there's any more. Oh, here's a good question. I've got a couple more good questions. Has autism increased over the years? I think most of it is increased detection. At least in where I live, there's less emphasis on teaching social skills. When I was a child, you sat down at the dinner table and you were taught to say please and thank you. And also children had more jobs in my country when they were young. So I know a lot of grandparents that come up to me and they say, I found out I had autism when the grandchildren got diagnosed.
Mm-hmm. Y dice que hay personas que ella conoce que los abuelos se han dado cuenta que tienen autismo cuando diagnostican a los nietos y que realmente pues en el tiempo de antes no había tanto diagnóstico, pero eso ha ido aumentando con el tiempo.
Okay, I don't know what that was. There's a question there about sensory hypersensitivity. Yes, I had some problems with loud noise, and I still have problems with wearing itchy, scratchy things against my skin. And it would be a good idea when you go shopping for clothes to let the child pick out pants, particularly I have problems with, and wash them before you wear them.
Ella está explicando que ella ha tenido muchos problemas sensoriales y recomienda que, por ejemplo, lleven al niño a comprar la ropa para que pueda discriminar si tolera o no la tela. Y, por ejemplo, en el caso de los pantalones, es bueno que los puedan lavar antes de que lo use la primera vez para poder lograr que no les moleste tanto.
A question also I get is about getting kids to wear masks. Give them some choices of masks. You're going to have to wear one, but let them pick it out. It may be stiff and scratchy, so you might want to wash it first before you start wearing it. But they're going to handle these things better if they have some choices.
Ella dice que en el caso de las mascarillas que estamos usando para cubrirnos o los tapabocas, es bueno que le pongan varias opciones para que el niño pueda escoger una y no solamente una opción como que esto es lo que es obligatorio. Pongan varias opciones de mascarillas.
Okay, well, we've gone now over an hour. So if we don't have any other questions, maybe it's time to sign off, but I'm really glad that I was able to be here and you've recorded this for other parents.
Yes.
So that's good.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for us to have you here. It's very special for my country to listen to you. We have been following you since ever. We have seen your movies, read your books, and we have learned a lot from you, and we really appreciate. We want to say thank you.
The other thing I want to emphasize is it's possible to put good programs together without spending a fortune in money.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people out there selling a lot of very expensive stuff. And I've tried to write up how to do things so people, little kids need a lot of teaching time. But there's a lot of things we can do, like getting an art program going on in the neighborhood. Get a retired mechanic to start a car repair shop for the kids. These are things that are easy to do. Or a computer programming club is something that someone could set up in the neighborhood. These are not hard things to do.
Ella dice que realmente es muy importante que busquen actividades que le puedan enseñar a los niños y no tienen que ser cosas costosas ni complicadas. Por ejemplo, puede ser aprender a estar en un proyecto de arte o estar en un proyecto para aprender algo de mecánica con respecto a algo. Que lo importante es que puedan estar participando con el niño y enseñándole cosas nuevas.
I was just reading about Oprah Winfrey. I'm sure you know who Oprah Winfrey is. And Oprah Winfrey, her grandmother had her when she was 3.5 years old, giving Easter speeches at her church and getting her used to talking to people. That was not a difficult thing to do. I mean, this is something that's just done in the neighborhood.
Por ejemplo, ella ha estado siguiendo o hablando con Oprah, y que saben es una persona que dirige un show muy importante en la televisión en Estados Unidos, y resulta ser pues que la abuelita de ella la llevaba a la iglesia y todos los días desde pequeña le enseñó a cómo hablar en público. O sea que realmente hay que aprovechar las actividades que hay en la comunidad y hacerlas, y eso no es tan difícil de hacer.
Okay, I've got a lot of nice thank yous. I made Aradina's day. That is just great. I've got a thing there. Okay. Gracias. Yes, I do know that word in Spanish.
Yes.
It's been really wonderful to be here.
Yes. She said they admire you a lot. And thanks for this incredible opportunity.
Well, I hope it's going to help some kids out. We've got to start. I think I might end up with a quote from Stephen Hawking. You know, Stephen Hawking, and the great physicist. Just before he died, he told the New York Times concentrate on the things. Your disability doesn't prevent you from doing well. And this Dr. Hawking could do math in his head really well and not much else. But he did math in his head extremely well.
Ella está hablando de Stephen Hopkins, que es un matemático físico muy importante, que tenía una discapacidad muy grande, y él decía que había que concentrarse en las cosas que no eran discapacidad. Entonces, por ejemplo, él es un ejemplo de una persona que hacía matemáticas, y no solamente un poco de matemáticas, era extraordinario en matemáticas, y se enfocó en fortalecer eso.
Okay, well, I guess this way, think we're finished up now, or?
Yes. Dabaiba wants to, she's saying hi to you. Can you see her on the image? And now, like, I'm gonna turn on, like, all the
Okay, let me look at all the videos. Okay, I'd like to do that. Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have any that's seeing, okay, there's one person's video. Well, that's yours.
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing a few still pictures of the others. But I'm not seeing their videos.
Yes, I'm gonna unlock the video so you can see them.
Okay, there they are. Good, good,
Yes.
great, wonderful. That's
Yes.
good. Yeah, see, if you leave them all on, then the bandwidth gets messed up. Okay, and some people are on the phone.
Yes. There's a lot of people that came to listen to you. We're gonna post this recording on Facebook, on Instagram, to inspire more people.
Are you gonna put it up on YouTube too?
Yes, we're going to.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because then I can give it, refer other, Spanish speakers to it.
Yes, we're gonna love that. And I will send you the video too, so you can see it.
Well, wonderful.
Yes, here, there's many people listening to you here, but there are very special people who have helped kids with autism since many, many years ago. His name is Luis Leon. He asked a question for you, and you can see him on the camera.
Okay, what's his name? Let me get him. Find Luis Leon. Okay.
Yes.
See him right now.
Yes.
Yes.
And he has been our teacher for all the country. He is the person who works for autism and trained all of us during our professional life.
Well, that's really good. And we still have got to do things, during COVID, but you have to make a new schedule. I looked up all this stuff on the space station, and it's very interesting the things that NASA has learned on how to handle people living in very tight quarters. They set up, they have a schedule.
Saludos, muchas gracias desde Santiago de Veraguas.
He's saying thank you very much, and he's saying hi from the interior of the country.
Well, thank you very, very much. That's great.
I'm gonna check on that webpage that you're mentioning, related to the space.
Yeah, the best way to find that is just go on to regular Google in English and type in the words video, life on the International Space Station, and then have the word video. And a bunch of YouTube videos should come up. That's how I searched for it. Life on the International Space Station videos.
Okay, perfect.
You have to put the word video on it. And a whole bunch of them come up, and it shows the whole inside of the space station, how they exercise, how they eat, even shows their toilet, which does not look like very much fun.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But they're living very tight quarters. I also found a space station schedule. Thought that was really interesting. And the biggest thing on the schedule for the entire week was the midday meal. Everybody's got to be at that.
Oh, wonderful. She's saying that, I'm translating in English. I'm sorry, I got confused.
Okay.
Ella está explicando que si buscan en Google y ponen vida en el espacio, en las estaciones del espacio, ponen la palabra videos, que entonces de esa manera van a poder encontrar información sobre cómo vivir en lugares pequeños. Aquí se los estoy escribiendo en el chat. Space station.
You'll type those words in English, but even if you can't understand what the astronaut tour guide is saying, you still can see it.
Uh-huh. Sí, igualmente pueden poner estas palabras y van a encontrar información y van a poder ver sobre cómo hacerlo.
No, it shows everything on the inside of the space station.
Sí, ellos muestran todo ahí adentro de la estación espacial. Now the Viva is gonna talk to you. Let me unlock her. She's on mute.
Mayra Vega.
No, you are gonna see Fundación Soy Capaz. Now.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Oh,
you got the movie there, great.
Tabaiba, ¿me puedes hablar por el celular? Porque veo que tu pantalla no se quita el...
Oh, hi. Oh, somebody's got like a space background there.
Yeah. Yes. I'm trying to make the Viva to talk to you, but for I don't know why. Now she's on mute. The Viva. No se escucha tu audio. Pareciera que no tienes el audio de la computadora puesta. Llámame al WhatsApp. Digo, ahora sí.
Hi, Dr. Temple Grandin. It has been an honor to have you here this afternoon with us. Thank you very much for your time. We have met before in the U.S. and Autism and Asperger Association, and also you have met my husband in an animal science conferences in USA. Hi. And we are very thankful for your time sharing with parents, with adults with autism, with children with autism, with teachers, all your insights, and we are really grateful. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody for accepting this invitation.
It was very, very good to talk to you. I'm sorry somehow my mic got muted. I think it's working now.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
So thank you very much for all your knowledge that you share with us. And for everybody that's looking, we also have some movies from...
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's great. You got the movie. That's wonderful.
Yeah, if you want, just contact us. And any also help that you want to give us in these COVID times.
Well, I thought one of the things that's helped me is getting on a schedule. I make myself get up every morning, I shower, dressed for work by 8 o'clock in the morning, and I feel a whole lot better. There's no lounging around in what I sleep in. Dressed for work by 8 o'clock.
Dice que lo que más le ha ayudado en este periodo de la cuarentena es que ella se mantiene con su agenda y a las 8 de la mañana está bañada y vestida para trabajar y se acuesta a dormir a la hora que se tiene que acostar a dormir para estar lista para trabajar al día siguiente.
Yeah, my son is working too. He hated to be in quarantine, and so he's working in the food industry, and he loves to wake up at the same time and do his routine and be with his friends at the job. So
well, that's just it. That's hard for a lot of people, and the food industry's been has been shut down. It's just terrible. Yeah, lots of people would much rather be at work.
Well, he worked with chicken.
Okay. All right.
They don't have vacation. We have to eat.
And so he worked at one of the chicken restaurants?
No, chicken grower.
Well, he can't do anything. What job were you doing with the chicken grower?
I am a director of investigations, doing a lot of nutritional studies.
Okay, and there's no way, well, can he go see the chickens now? Do something with the
No,
chickens?
we don't see the chickens. We cannot go to the farms, to the plants. Nobody goes nowhere. Only with the connection with the mobiles, all these kind of tools that we have to communicate. We cannot visit the farms.
No, that's too bad. We were like locked out of the university.
Yes.
We were locked out. That's starting to loosen up some now.
Yeah.
But now we've got some of our states, COVID is like a huge amount of COVID. And I think we're going to get locked down again.
Well, we have a strict biosecurity in our plants, in the feed mill, in the hatcheries, very strict biosecurity, very, very strict.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. Well, maybe his son could just get a job working in one of those places and then he'd be allowed to go in there. How old is your son?
Well,
he's 33, but he's working in the food industry. He works at the supermarket.
He's working at the supermarket. Okay, good.
yeah,
So
14 years.
he does have a job. Okay, good. Okay, now that job you can still do. People still, supermarket's essential. You can still work.
14 years.
People need to eat.
Yeah, you can still work at the supermarket.
Yeah, he's very happy working. Very, very happy.
Well, good. What does he do at the supermarket?
He packs things.
Packaging ice cream cones and put prices on them.
Okay, good.
For 14 years, the same thing, 14 years.
No, but somebody's got to do that, and it's useful work.
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
Somebody has to do that, and you know, most people get satisfaction out of you know, having a job.
Yeah, he is very happy. He feels very useful. He's always smiling, working.
Yeah, that's good.
The most smiling person in the supermarket.
And at what age did he start learning how to work?
He started to work at 18.
Okay, at 18, okay.
But when he was younger, like a kid, my parents, his grandparents, they didn't see any handicap on him. They were always putting him doing gardening and
good. But this is what we've got to do with these kids. There's a tendency to get too much of a handicap mentality, and we need to get them out doing things.
Let translate.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm going to translate.
Yeah.
Están explicando y la doctora Grandin está preguntando sobre la vida de Darius y los padres están explicando que él trabaja empacando conos en el supermercado y que en este momento él se encuentra haciendo eso y tiene 14 años de estar trabajando en ese mismo puesto de trabajo. La doctora Grandin preguntó que desde qué edad él está trabajando y ellos dijeron que desde los 18 años, pero antes de esa edad ya los abuelos lo ponían a hacer cosas del jardín y a hacer diferentes actividades, o sea que los abuelos no lo miraban con ojos de discapacidad, sino que simplemente tenía que ir haciendo las cosas que se van haciendo en la familia, y la doctora Grandin está diciendo que eso es maravilloso, así es como hay que hacerlo. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Okay, well, good to talk to you.
Thank you, Dr. Grandin.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I will send you the recording.
Okay, thank you. Just because it's time now to leave the meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Show the whole screen.
Okay.
Show the whole screen.
Yes, let me show. Everybody todos pueden abrir sus videos para que puedan decir chao.
Good, got everybody there, good. That's
Yes.
great.
So you
Okay,
can
now I
see
can
all
see
of
everybody.
them.
Okay. Okay, I see myself there.
Can you see all of them?
Yes, I can. Yep. It looks like most people have got their videos on.
Yeah.
That's good.
We don't see it. Not here.
Yes, we wanted to
I'm
say
just looking at everybody's video. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias, Dr.
See you
Grandin.
soon.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Appreciate. It's very appreciated.
Talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye. I'm gonna say goodbye. Okay, all right, gonna leave the meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.